The afternoon sun filtered through the tall windows of my studio apartment, catching the fabric samples I'd spread across my drafting table. Butter, soft leather, and cognac. Velvet and deep forest green. Silk, the color of champagne. I ran my fingers over each one, mentally furnishing the penthouse that would make or break my interior design career. My phone buzzed. Christian's name lit up the screen, and I felt that familiar warmth spread through my chest. 2 months of dating him had been easy in ways I'd never experienced before. No games, no complications, just genuine sweetness from a man who owned a successful import business and still remembered to text me good morning every single day. "Hey, beautiful." His voice came through, warm and slightly nervous. "So, Sunday dinner at my parents' place. You still okay with meeting the whole Weber clan?" I smiled, tucking the phone between my ear and shoulder as I continued organizing samples. "Christian, you've asked me 3 times. Yes, I'm still okay with it. Yes, I'm still coming. No, I'm not going to run away screaming when I meet your family. It's just, we're a lot. Big Italian Sunday dinners. Everyone talks over everyone. My mother will try to feed you until you burst. My father will interrogate you about your business. And my siblings." He paused. "They can be intense. I can handle intense." I arranged the leather samples in order of richness. "I survived design school critiques. I think I can manage your family." What I didn't say was that I was actually nervous, not about meeting his parents or siblings, but about the significance of it. 2 months wasn't long, but Christian had already started using words like future and serious in casual conversation. This dinner felt like a threshold we were crossing together. "There's one thing I should probably mention," Christian continued, his voice taking on an odd quality. "My twin brother Eric will be there." "You have a twin?" I set down the velvet sample I'd been holding. "You never mentioned a twin. We're different, very different. He handles the other side of the family business, the side I don't really talk about." The carefully neutral tone told me everything he wasn't saying. I'd suspected Christian's family had money beyond his legitimate import company. The way he never quite explained certain connections, the deference shown to him in upscale restaurants, the security that seemed to materialize whenever we went anywhere too public. "Different how?" I asked carefully. "Identical physically, 7 minutes older than me, but in every other way." Christian laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Eric's the reason I got out of the family business and started something clean. He stayed in. Runs everything now. Just be careful around him, Sophia. He's not like me." The warning sent a small shiver down my spine. I'd never heard Christian sound quite so serious. "Noted. Any other family members I should know about?" We talked for another 20 minutes, Christian walking me through the family tree. Parents Klaus and Ingrid, originally from Germany, who'd built an empire through a combination of legitimate business and less savory ventures. Sister Astrid, a lawyer who handled the family's legal affairs with surgical precision. Younger brother Gustav, still in university, but already being groomed for a role in the organization. After we hung up, I stood at my window, looking out over the city. The nervousness that had been a flutter was now a full-fledged swarm of butterflies. Meeting the family was one thing. Meeting a family with obvious ties to organized crime was something else entirely. But Christian was worth it. Sweet, considerate Christian, who brought me coffee every morning when he stayed over, who listened to me talk about color theory and spatial relationships without his eyes glazing over, who made me feel safe in a way I'd never experienced before. I spent Saturday preparing, got my hair done, bought a new dress that was elegant but not trying too hard, navy blue silk that hit just below the knee, sophisticated enough for family dinner but not so formal it would seem like I was performing. Sunday arrived too quickly. Christian picked me up at 4, looking nervous in a way I'd never seen before. He wore slacks and a crisp white shirt, his dark hair styled with more care than usual. "You look beautiful," he said, kissing my cheek as I slid into his Mercedes. "And terrified." "I'm not terrified. I'm strategically anxious." I smoothed my dress over my knees, a nervous habit. "There's a difference." The drive to the Weber estate took 40 minutes, leaving the city proper and heading into the hills where old money lived behind gates and hedges. Christian's family home was exactly what I'd pictured, a sprawling mansion that managed to look both elegant and vaguely threatening. Stone and glass and perfectly manicured grounds that probably cost more to maintain than I made in a year. Security waved us through the gate after a brief conversation with Christian. The driveway curved through gardens that belonged in a luxury hotel, not a private residence. "Breathe," Christian said softly, parking near the front entrance. "They're going to love you." I wasn't so sure about that, but I squeezed his hand and followed him toward the massive front door. The interior was stunning. Marble floors that reflected light from crystal chandeliers. Art on the walls that I recognized from auction catalogs. The kind of wealth that whispered rather than shouted, except for the two large men in dark suits who stood near the entrance, clearly security. "Christian!" A woman's voice rang out, warm and heavily accented. Ingrid Weber swept toward us, a handsome woman in her 60s with steel-gray hair and sharp eyes that assessed me in one quick glance. "And you must be Sophia. Welcome, welcome." She pulled me into an embrace that smelled of expensive perfume and something baking. The warmth was genuine, which surprised me. I'd expected ice from the matriarch of what was essentially a crime family. "Mrs. Weber, thank you for having me," I managed, slightly overwhelmed. "Ingrid, please. Mrs. Weber makes me feel ancient." She linked her arm through mine, already pulling me away from Christian. "Come. Everyone's in the dining room. We eat early on Sundays. Old European habit." The dining room was as impressive as the rest of the house. A table that could seat 20, though today it held only 8 place settings. Tall windows overlooked the gardens. More art on the walls, including what I was pretty sure was an original Monet. Klaus Weber stood at the head of the table, a distinguished man with silver hair and the same sharp eyes as his wife. He shook my hand with a grip that was assessing without being aggressive. "So you're the designer who's captured my son's attention," he said, his accent thicker than his wife's. "Christian tells me you're very talented." "I try to be, sir." I kept my voice steady despite the weight of his stare. "She's being modest," Christian interjected, appearing at my side. "She just landed the Meridian Tower penthouse project, youngest designer they've ever commissioned." Pride colored his voice, and I felt some of my tension ease. Whatever else this family was, they clearly loved Christian. And he was proud of me. Astrid appeared next, a striking woman in her early 30s with her mother's bone structure and her father's eyes. She assessed me with the precision of someone who made a living reading people. "Interior designer," she said, shaking my hand firmly. "Interesting choice. Most of Christian's previous girlfriends were in finance or law." "Astrid," Christian's tone carried a warning. "What? I'm making conversation." But she smiled slightly, and I caught something that might have been approval in her expression. Gustav bounded in like an overgrown puppy, all enthusiasm and barely contained energy. At 22, he still had the unguarded quality of someone who hadn't fully entered the family business yet. "You're pretty," he announced, earning a sharp look from his mother. "What? She is?" Christian never brings pretty girls home. "I bring plenty of—" Christian started. "You bring boring girls home," Gustav interrupted. "Sophia looks actually interesting." I couldn't help but laugh. The family dynamic was becoming clearer. Protective mother, assessing father, sharp-eyed sister, puppy dog younger brother, and Christian, the one who'd tried to build something separate from whatever empire his family controlled. "We're just waiting on Eric," Ingrid said, glancing toward the doorway. "He's always late. Claims the business keeps him. But really, he just likes to make an entrance." Christian's hand found mine under the table, squeezing gently. I squeezed back, trying to ignore the flutter of nerves at the mention of his twin. I heard him before I saw him. Footsteps in the hallway, measured and unhurried. A murmured conversation with one of the security guards. Then he appeared in the doorway, and every thought in my head went blank. Christian had said they were identical. He hadn't said it would be like looking at two versions of the same man who'd somehow chosen completely different lives. Same dark hair, same strong jawline, same tall frame. But where Christian wore his good looks with approachable warmth, this man wore them like armor. Eric Weber stood in the doorway in a charcoal suit that had definitely been custom-tailored. White shirt open at the collar, no tie. His dark eyes swept the room with the efficiency of someone cataloging threats and assets in the same glance. And I, like an absolute idiot, stood up. Maybe it was nervousness. Maybe it was the 2 months of greeting Christian with affection making my body move on autopilot. Maybe it was the disorienting effect of seeing what looked exactly like my boyfriend walk through the door. Whatever the reason, I crossed the space between us in 4 steps, rose on my toes, and pressed a warm kiss to his lips. For exactly 2 seconds, the world made sense. Then everything crystallized with horrible clarity. The mouth under mine was wrong, firmer, less yielding. The scent was different, cedar and something darker, more complex than Christian's familiar cologne. The way he went completely still wasn't surprise. It was predatory patience. I jerked back, my hand flying to my mouth. The room had gone absolutely silent. I could feel every eye on us. Eric's expression hadn't changed. Not shock, not offense, not amusement. Just that same assessing stare, now focused entirely on me with an intensity that made my skin feel too tight. "Wrong brother, darling," he said softly, his voice deeper than Christian's, with an edge that suggested danger wrapped in silk. My face went hot. "I'm so sorry. I thought, you look exactly..." I was babbling, backing away until I collided with a chair. Christian appeared at my side, his hand on my elbow. "Eric, this is Sophia." Sophia, my brother Eric, who I should have warned you was my identical twin. "Pleased to meet you, Sophia." Eric held out his hand, perfectly composed as if I hadn't just kissed him in front of his entire family. I shook it, because refusing would have been even more awkward. His grip was firm, warm, and he held my hand a fraction of a second longer than necessary before releasing it. "I'm mortified," I managed, sinking into the chair Christian guided me to. "Truly, I don't usually just accost strangers. I'm hardly a stranger if you're dating my brother." Eric took the seat directly across from me, which I suspected was deliberate, though I appreciate the enthusiastic greeting. Was that amusement in his tone? I couldn't tell. His expression remained neutral, but something flickered in those dark eyes, something that made my stomach do an uncomfortable flip. "Well," Ingrid said brightly, clearly trying to move past the awkwardness, "now that everyone's here, let's eat." "Sophia, you sit there next to Christian." "Eric, stop looking at her like that." "Like what?" Eric's attention didn't waver from my face. "Like she's a puzzle you're trying to solve." Ingrid began passing serving dishes. "Leave the poor girl alone. She made an honest mistake." Dinner proceeded with the controlled chaos Christian had promised. Multiple conversations happening simultaneously. Food passed family style. Klaus asking me careful questions about my business while Ingrid tried to pile more pasta on my plate. Astrid watching me with lawyer eyes. Gustav making jokes that were actually funny. And Eric, always Eric, sitting across from me with that unreadable expression, contributing little to the conversation, but somehow dominating the space anyway. I tried to focus on Christian. Sweet, safe Christian, who kept his hand on mine under the table and smiled encouragingly whenever I glanced his way. but I could feel Eric's attention like a physical weight. Every time I looked up, his dark gaze was there, steady and unwavering. "So, Sophia," Klaus said during a lull in conversation, "Christian says you're from here originally?" "Born and raised. My mother was a teacher. My father worked in construction. I left out the part where my father died when I was 12, and my mother worked 2 jobs to keep us afloat. They didn't need my entire history." "Self-made then," Astrid observed. "Impressive. Most people in your position marry into money, rather than earning it." "Astrid," Christian's tone sharpened. "It's fine," I said quickly. "It's true. I just prefer building my own foundation." "Smart." Eric spoke for the first time in 20 minutes, his voice cutting through the ambient conversation. "Money earned is more secure than money borrowed through marriage. Less chance of losing everything when the relationship ends." The cynicism in his words was palpable. Christian's hand tightened on mine. "Not all relationships end," Christian said pointedly. "Most do." Eric's eyes found mine again. "Especially when people discover the reality doesn't match the fantasy they've constructed." The table went quiet. I felt like I'd stepped into the middle of an old argument, one that had been happening between these brothers long before I arrived. "Well, I'm an optimist," I heard myself say, meeting Eric's stare directly. "I believe in building things that last, whether that's interiors or relationships." Something shifted in his expression. Surprise? Interest? It was gone too quickly to name. "An optimist dating a Weber," he said softly. "That's either brave or foolish." "Maybe both," I replied, refusing to look away. The corner of his mouth moved, not quite a smile, something more dangerous. The rest of dinner passed in a blur. I answered questions, laughed at Gustav's jokes, complimented Ingrid's cooking, tried desperately to ignore the way my skin prickled every time Eric's attention landed on me. After dinner, Christian gave me a tour of the house while the family retreated to the living room for coffee. It was gorgeous, professional designer gorgeous. But I couldn't focus on the architecture or the art collection. My mind kept circling back to that moment in the dining room. "Wrong brother, darling." "I'm so sorry," Christian said as we stood in a gallery overlooking the gardens. "I should have prepared you better, warned you how identical we look." "It's okay. I'm the one who should be apologizing. I just saw someone who looked exactly like you and my brain short-circuited." I leaned against him, trying to recapture the easy comfort of our relationship. But something had shifted. Some awareness I couldn't name had lodged itself in my consciousness, thorny and persistent. "Eric was being weird," Christian continued. "The way he was watching you. I know my brother. That wasn't just curiosity." "Maybe he was just surprised someone mistook him for you," I suggested, even though I knew that wasn't it. Christian was quiet for a long moment. "Eric doesn't do surprise. He's always 3 steps ahead, always calculating. Whatever he was thinking while he watched you tonight, it wasn't simple surprise." We rejoined the family for coffee. I deliberately sat next to Christian on the sofa, creating physical distance between myself and Eric, who'd claimed the chair directly across from us. But distance didn't matter. I could still feel his attention, heavy and assessing. "Sophia," Ingrid said warmly, "you must come back next Sunday. We do this every week. It would be lovely to have you as a regular." "I'd like that," I said, meaning it despite the complicated web I could feel forming around me. "Wonderful. Christian, make sure she knows she's always welcome." Ingrid patted my hand. "It's good to see my son happy. He's been different since he met you. Lighter." Christian squeezed my shoulder, and I saw genuine love in Ingrid's eyes. Whatever else this family was, they cared about each other deeply. I should get Sophia home, Christian said, checking his watch. She has an early client meeting tomorrow. Goodbyes were warm. Hugs from Ingrid. A firm handshake from Klaus. Astrid's promise to have lunch sometime and talk. Gustav's enthusiastic declaration that I was way cooler than Christian's last girlfriend. And Eric, standing slightly apart from the family cluster, watching me with those unreadable dark eyes. It was nice to meet you, I said, because politeness demanded I acknowledge him. The pleasure was mine. He took my hand, and I felt that same current of awareness from earlier. I look forward to seeing you again, Sophia. Next Sunday, perhaps. It should have been a normal statement, but the way he said my name, the way his thumb brushed across my knuckles before releasing my hand, turned it into something else entirely. In the car heading back to the city, Christian was quiet. I stared out the window, trying to process the evening. He liked you, Christian said finally. Your brother? I couldn't tell. He barely spoke. Exactly. Eric only goes quiet when something genuinely interests him. Usually he's running the conversation, controlling the narrative. With you, he just watched. I didn't know what to say to that. Didn't know how to explain that I'd felt that attention like a physical touch. That some part of me, some part I was desperately trying to ignore, had responded to it. He's dangerous, Sophia. Christian's voice dropped. I know you're tough. I know you can handle yourself. But Eric's not like other men. He's calculating, patient. When he wants something, he doesn't stop until he gets it. Christian, I kissed him by mistake. That's all. It doesn't mean anything. I know. But his hand tightened on the steering wheel. I just need you to be careful around him. Keep your distance. Don't let him pull you into his world. I agreed. Promised I'd be careful. Told Christian everything was fine. But that night, alone in my apartment, I couldn't stop thinking about Eric Weber. About the way he'd looked at me across that dining table. About the barely there almost smile when I'd challenged him. About the warmth of his hand on mine, and the current of something I couldn't name that had passed between us. Wrong brother, darling. The words echoed in my head as I finally fell asleep, and I knew, with a certainty that terrified me, that this was only the beginning. The Meridian Tower penthouse became my refuge over the following week. 40 floors above the city, surrounded by unfinished luxury, I could focus on something concrete. Fabric swatches, paint samples, the measurable distance between furniture pieces, problems with clear solutions. Unlike the Eric Weber problem, which had no solution because it shouldn't have been a problem at all. I'd been dating Christian for 2 months. Sweet, uncomplicated Christian, who texted me good morning and brought me coffee and never made me feel like I was being studied under a microscope. What happened at dinner was a mistake. An embarrassing accident that I needed to forget. Except I couldn't forget the weight of Eric's stare. The way his voice had wrapped around my name. The current of awareness that had shot through me when our hands touched. Earth to Sophia. Karen's voice broke through my thoughts. My best friend and former design school roommate stood in the penthouse doorway, holding 2 takeout coffees and wearing her signature knowing expression. You've been staring at that paint chip for 5 minutes. Either it's hypnotic or you're thinking about something else entirely. I set down the sample, a deep burgundy that was wrong for this space anyway. The client wants drama. I'm trying to figure out how to give them that without making it look like a vampire's lair. Karen handed me a coffee and perched on a sawhorse, her blonde hair catching the afternoon light. Want to try that again? This time without lying to your best friend who can read you like a very short book? I sighed. Karen and I had survived 4 years of brutal design critiques together. She'd held my hair when I got food poisoning from questionable sushi. I'd talked her off the ledge when her thesis project fell apart 2 weeks before graduation. We didn't do polite fiction with each other. I met Christian's family on Sunday, I said carefully. And? Did the wealthy criminals approve of their son's choice in women? Karen had zero filter and even less patience for pretense. His mother hugged me. His father interrogated me politely. His sister assessed me like a legal brief. His younger brother thought I was cool. I paused, and I accidentally kissed his twin brother. Karen choked on her coffee. You what? I explained the entire mortifying situation, the identical twins, my brain short-circuiting, the kiss that should have meant nothing but somehow felt like everything. Okay, but here's the thing, Karen said when I finished. You've kissed Christian plenty of times, so you obviously recognized something was different. What was it? That was the question I'd been avoiding all week. Everything. The way he went still instead of responding. The scent. The texture of his mouth. The intensity when I pulled back and saw his expression. And how did identical twin react? He said, "Wrong brother, darling," and then watched me for the rest of the night like I was a particularly interesting experiment. Karen's eyes widened. Oh, this is good. This is telenovela-level drama. Is he hot? They're identical. That's not what I asked. She leaned forward. Is he specifically hot to you in a way Christian isn't? I wanted to deny it. Wanted to say that Christian was the one I was attracted to, the one I'd chosen, the one who made sense. But Karen deserved honesty. Yes, I admitted quietly, but that doesn't mean anything. Christian is kind and thoughtful and makes me feel safe. Eric is dangerous, Karen finished, and you've always had a thing for dangerous. I do not have a thing for dangerous. I have a thing for stability, for building something real. Sophia, your last boyfriend before Christian was that sculptor who lived in a warehouse with no heat. Before him was the photographer who financed his art by doing extremely questionable work for extremely questionable people. And before him... Okay, point made. I held up my hand. But this is different. Christian is good for me, healthy. The kind of relationship I should want. Should want? Karen raised an eyebrow. That's telling. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. Christian's name on the screen. I answered, grateful for the interruption. Hey, are you free for dinner tonight? His voice carried that familiar warmth. I know it's last minute, but I wanted to see you. I'd love to. Where? That Italian place you like. 8 o'clock? We confirmed plans and I hung up, already feeling guilty. Christian was perfect. Attentive. Everything I claimed to want. So why did my mind keep circling back to his brother? You're thinking about him again, Karen observed. The dangerous twin. I'm thinking about finish schedules and furniture placement. Sure you are. She stood, brushing dust from her jeans. Just promise me something. Be careful. Twins are complicated enough without adding organized crime and obvious mutual attraction to the mix. There's no mutual attraction. He was probably just surprised. Karen laughed. Keep telling yourself that, bestie. I'm sure it'll become true eventually. After she left, I tried to focus on work. Made decisions about lighting fixtures and window treatments. Sent emails to contractors. Sketched elevation plans for the master bedroom. But my mind kept wandering. To Eric's voice. To the way he'd said my name like he was memorizing the syllables. To the almost smile that had transformed his face for a fraction of a second. At 7:30, I went home to change. My apartment felt small after the Meridian penthouse. But it was mine, earned through late nights and difficult clients and a stubborn refusal to take shortcuts. I chose a simple black dress, elegant without trying too hard. Fixed my makeup. Tried to recapture the easy excitement I usually felt before seeing Christian. He picked me up at 8, looking handsome in dark slacks and a navy sweater. Kissed my cheek. Complimented my dress. Everything normal and right. The restaurant was one of our favorites. Intimate. Excellent wine list. The kind of place where Christian knew the owner and we always got a good table. Except tonight, Eric was there. He sat at a corner table with two men I didn't recognize, all three in expensive suits that screamed business meeting. But the moment we walked in, his attention found me with the precision of a laser. Christian saw him too. His hand tightened on my back. "We can go somewhere else," he said quietly. But Eric was already standing, walking toward us with that measured stride that suggested absolute confidence. The two men at his table didn't follow, but I could feel them watching. "Christian, Sophia." Eric's voice was smooth, giving nothing away. "What a pleasant surprise." "We didn't know you'd be here," Christian said, his tone careful. "I'm meeting with associates. Nothing that concerns you." Eric's dark eyes found mine. "How have you been, Sophia?" Recovered from Sunday's embarrassment. Heat crept up my neck. "Fully recovered, thank you." "Good. I'd hate to think I'd traumatized you." Was that amusement in his voice? Though I must say, it was the most memorable introduction I've had in years. "I'm sure," I managed, trying to ignore the way my pulse had quickened. Christian's jaw tightened. "We should get to our table, Sophia." "Of course." Eric stepped aside with a slight smile. "Enjoy your dinner." But as we passed, his hand brushed my arm. The briefest contact, barely noticeable, except it sent electricity racing across my skin. Our table was on the opposite side of the restaurant, which should have provided distance. But I could feel Eric's presence like a magnetic pull. Every time I glanced up, he was watching. Not obviously, not in a way anyone else would notice. But I noticed. "He's doing this on purpose," Christian said, his voice tight with frustration. "Doing what?" "Having dinner?" "Positioning himself where he can watch you, testing to see if you'll look back." Christian reached across the table, taking my hand. "Eric plays games, Sophia. Strategic, calculated games. Don't let him pull you in." I wanted to reassure him. Wanted to say that Eric meant nothing to me, that I was completely focused on us. But something stopped the words. Some stubborn refusal to lie, even by omission. "What if we just leave?" I suggested instead. "Find somewhere else to eat?" That would be letting him win. Christian's grip tightened. "No, we're staying. We're having a nice dinner. And we're not going to let my brother's presence ruin it." We ordered. The food was excellent, as always. Christian told me about a new import deal he was negotiating. I shared updates on the Meridian project. We talked and laughed and tried to pretend we were the only people in the restaurant. But I was hyper-aware of Eric, of the way he conducted his meeting with quiet authority, of how his associates deferred to him with the kind of respect that came from fear as much as loyalty, of the moment his business concluded and his companions left. But he remained. "I need to use the restroom," I said abruptly, standing. The ladies' room was at the back of the restaurant, down a hallway lined with framed photographs of Italian landscapes. I locked myself in a stall and leaned against the door, trying to steady my breathing. This was ridiculous. I was a grown woman with a good man who cared about me. I wasn't going to let some intense stare from his dangerous brother derail everything I was building. When I emerged to wash my hands, Eric was leaning against the hallway wall outside the restroom entrance. My heart stopped, then kicked into overdrive. "What are you doing here?" The words came out sharper than intended. "Waiting for you." He pushed off the wall, moving closer. Not threatening, just present in a way that filled the entire narrow hallway. "We need to talk." "About what?" "I kissed you by mistake. It's over. Done." "Is it?" He tilted his head slightly, studying me with that unnerving focus. "Because I don't think it is. Not for you. Definitely not for me. I'm dating your brother." I tried to step around him, but he shifted, blocking my path without actually touching me. "I'm aware. Christian made that abundantly clear when he called to warn me away from you." That stopped me. He what? Called me Tuesday. Told me in very diplomatic terms to stay away from his girlfriend. That you were off limits. That family loyalty demanded I respect his relationship. Eric's expression remained neutral, but something flickered in his eyes, which naturally made me more interested. So this is a game to you? Some kind of competition with your brother? No, the single word cut through the space between us. If this were about competition, I would have already won. Christian knows that. It's why he's worried. The arrogance should have infuriated me. Instead, it sent heat coiling through my stomach. I'm not a prize to be won, I said, keeping my voice steady. No, you're not. He moved closer, just a fraction. Close enough that I could smell his cologne, cedar and something darker. You're an intelligent, talented woman who's dating a man she cares for but isn't in love with, who kissed me by mistake and felt something she didn't expect, who's been thinking about that moment all week despite trying desperately not to. My breath caught. You don't know anything about me. I know you're lying right now. I can see it in the way your pulse is racing. His gaze dropped to my throat, where I knew my heartbeat was visible. In the way you haven't stepped back even though you could. In the way you're looking at me like you're trying to solve a problem that has no good solution. This is inappropriate, but I still didn't move. Absolutely. He lifted his hand, and I thought he might touch my face. Instead, he tucked a strand of hair behind my ear with devastating gentleness. But that doesn't make it less real. The touch sent shivers across my skin. I should have pushed him away. Should have walked past him back to Christian. Should have done anything except stand there drowning in the intensity of his attention. I care about Christian, I managed. I know you do. He's easy to care about. Safe. Uncomplicated. Eric's thumb brushed my cheekbone. But safe isn't what makes your hands tremble. Isn't what makes you brave enough to challenge me at Sunday dinner. Isn't what has you standing here in this hallway when you should be running. You're his brother. The argument sounded weak even to me. 7 minutes older, otherwise identical in every measurable way. His dark eyes held mine. Except Christian sees you as something precious to protect. I see you as an equal, someone strong enough to handle the truth. What truth? That you felt it too. That moment when you kissed me. The recognition that something shifted. That the safe choice and the right choice aren't always the same thing. Before I could respond, footsteps echoed in the hallway. A server passing through with a tray. Eric stepped back smoothly, creating appropriate distance, his expression shifting to polite neutrality. But the air between us still crackled with unfinished business. Think about what I said, he murmured as the server disappeared. And Sophia, I'm patient. I can wait for you to stop lying to yourself. He walked away, leaving me trembling in the hallway, trying to remember how to breathe normally. When I returned to the table, Christian took one look at my face and went still. What happened? Nothing. I just ran into your brother in the hallway. And? His voice had gone cold. And we exchanged pleasantries. That's all. The lie tasted bitter. Christian's jaw worked. I told him to stay away from you. He mentioned that. I picked up my wine glass, needing something to do with my shaking hands. Christian, maybe we should just go home. We left the restaurant without finishing our meal. In the car, Christian was quiet, his hands tight on the steering wheel. I know my brother, he said finally. I know how he operates. He sees something he wants and he doesn't stop until he gets it. Please, Sophia, don't let him manipulate you. He's not manipulating me. Then what was he doing in that hallway? Don't tell me it was coincidence. I couldn't answer. Couldn't explain what had happened in those few charged minutes. Couldn't even fully understand it myself. Christian pulled up outside my building but didn't turn off the engine. I care about you. More than I've cared about anyone in a long time. But I can't compete with Eric. I won't. If you want something different, something dangerous, I need to know now. The ultimatum hung between us. Choose. Decide. Pick the safe path or walk away. I want to be with you, I said, and meant it. Christian was good for me. Right for me. Everything I'd claimed to want. But even as he kissed me goodnight and I went upstairs to my apartment, I could feel Eric's presence like a shadow. Could still feel the ghost of his touch on my face. Could still hear his voice promising that he would wait. And the terrifying part was that some piece of me, some reckless, self-destructive piece I'd been trying to ignore, wanted him to. The thing about trying to avoid someone is that it requires constant vigilance. Every restaurant became a potential minefield. Every charity event, a calculated risk. The city that had felt expansive suddenly contracted, as if Eric Weber's gravity had bent the very geography to bring us into inevitable collision. For 3 weeks, I succeeded. Threw myself into the Meridian Project. Attended Christian's business dinners with a smile that felt increasingly performative. Ignored the text that started appearing on my phone from an unknown number that I knew, somehow, was Eric. Thinking about you. Still waiting. Patience is a virtue I'm willing to practice. For you. I deleted them without responding. Told myself the flutter in my stomach was anxiety, not anticipation. Focused on building something real with Christian, who deserved better than a girlfriend whose mind kept wandering to his brother's hands, his voice, the way he'd looked at me in that hallway. Then came the second Weber family Sunday dinner. You don't have to go, Christian said on Saturday evening, as we shared takeout in my apartment. I know my family makes you nervous. Your mother specifically invited me. I'm not going to be rude. I stabbed at my pad thai with more force than necessary. Besides, avoiding your family means avoiding an important part of your life. That's not sustainable. What I didn't say was that I was tired of running, tired of checking over my shoulder, tired of the constant low-level anxiety that came from avoiding the inevitable. If Eric was going to be part of Christian's life, and by extension, mine, I needed to figure out how to coexist with him without my body betraying me every time he entered a room. Sunday arrived too quickly. I dressed with deliberate care in a soft gray cashmere sweater and tailored black pants. Professional. Appropriate. Nothing that could be read as trying too hard. The drive to the Weber estate felt longer this time. Christian chatted about work, about the upcoming holidays, about anything except his brother. But tension radiated from him like heat. He'll be there, Christian said, as we pulled through the security gate. I asked my mother. She said Eric specifically said he was coming. Okay. I kept my voice neutral. Okay? That's all? What do you want me to say, Christian? That I'm terrified of seeing him again? That I've been thinking about him? That would just make this worse. Have you? His voice dropped. Been thinking about him? The question hung in the air between us. I could lie. Probably should lie. But the weight of 3 weeks of deleted texts and restless nights made deception feel impossible. Sometimes, I admitted quietly. But thinking isn't doing. It doesn't mean anything. Christian's hands tightened on the steering wheel. It means more than you think. Inside, the house felt different this time. Less intimidating. More familiar. Ingrid greeted me with a warm hug that smelled of baking bread and expensive perfume. Sophia, darling, so glad you came back. I was worried Christian's intense family scared you off. She linked her arm through mine, already pulling me toward the living room where voices drifted. Klaus is in a mood today. Business troubles. Best to just agree with whatever he says. The family was assembled in various states of relaxation. Klaus reading the newspaper with deep-set frown lines. Astrid on her laptop, probably working despite it being Sunday. Gustav sprawled on the couch, playing something on his phone, and Eric, standing by the windows overlooking the garden, dressed in dark slacks and a white shirt with the sleeves rolled to his elbows, a crystal tumbler of what looked like whiskey in his hand. He turned when I entered. Our eyes met across the room, and I felt that same electric current from the restaurant. The same dangerous pull. "Sophia," he said, his voice carrying across the space. "Welcome back." "Eric." I forced myself to look away, to focus on Christian, who'd materialized at my side with protective intensity. Lunch was less chaotic than the first dinner. Fewer people, quieter conversation, but the undercurrent of tension was palpable. Klaus grilled Christian about a shipment delay. Astrid fielded a work call that had her excusing herself to the study. Gustav complained about a professor who clearly had it out for him. And Eric watched me with that same unnerving focus, contributing little to the conversation but missing nothing. "Sophia," Ingrid said during a lull, "Christian mentioned you have that big penthouse project. How is it coming?" I explained the Meridian Commission, grateful for a neutral topic. The client's vision, the challenge of balancing drama with livability, the timeline that had me working 12-hour days. "You work too hard," Ingrid said warmly. "Christian, make sure she takes breaks. She'll burn herself out." "I try," Christian said, squeezing my hand, "but Sophia's dedicated to her craft." "Dedication is admirable," Eric said, speaking for the first time in 20 minutes. "But there's a difference between dedication and avoidance. Sometimes we throw ourselves into work to escape things we don't want to confront." The observation landed like a stone. I met his gaze across the table. "And sometimes," I replied evenly, "dedication is just dedication. Not everything is a psychological statement." "True." He took a slow sip of his whiskey. "But in my experience, the things we claim aren't significant usually are." Christian's hand tightened on mine. Under the table, his knee pressed against mine in silent support. After lunch, Gustav dragged Christian away to look at some car he was considering buying. Klaus retreated to his study for business calls. Astrid returned to her laptop. And Ingrid disappeared into the kitchen, leaving me alone in the living room with Eric. I should have followed Ingrid, should have made an excuse to call Karen, should have done anything except remain in a room alone with a man who looked at me like I was a puzzle he was determined to solve. "You're avoiding me," Eric said, moving to sit in the chair across from mine. Close enough for conversation, far enough to maintain plausible deniability. "I'm not avoiding you. I'm dating your brother." Those aren't mutually exclusive states. He set down his whiskey with deliberate care. "You've deleted every text I sent without reading them." "How do you know I didn't read them?" "Because if you had, you would have responded, even if just to tell me to stop." His dark eyes held mine. "You're not the type to leave things unfinished." He was right, which annoyed me. I picked fights rather than let things fester, confronted problems head on. Except with Eric, where confrontation felt like stepping into quicksand. "What do you want from me?" I asked, keeping my voice low. "Honesty. To start." He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "Tell me you haven't thought about that moment in the restaurant hallway. That you don't feel this thing between us. Tell me you're completely, utterly in love with my brother, and I'll walk away." "I care about Christian." That's not what I asked. I stood, needing distance, moved to the windows where he'd been standing earlier, looking out at the manicured gardens. "You're asking me to betray someone who's been nothing but good to me, someone I respect, someone your whole family loves. I'm asking you to stop lying to yourself." His voice came from directly behind me. I hadn't heard him move. "Christian is safe. I understand the appeal." After whatever came before, after building your career from nothing, safe probably feels like a revelation. Don't psychoanalyze me. Then answer the question. Are you in love with him? I turned to face him and found him closer than expected, close enough to see the flecks of gold in his dark eyes, close enough to smell cedar and whiskey and something uniquely him. I could be, I said, given time, given the chance to build something real without his brother sabotaging it. I'm not sabotaging anything. I'm offering an alternative. His hand came up, hovering near my face but not quite touching. Christian sees you as something precious, fragile, something to protect and shelter. Is that really what you want? To be treated like you might break? And what do you see? Someone strong enough to handle the truth. Someone who challenges rather than defers. Someone who kissed me by mistake but felt the difference. His thumb finally made contact, brushing my cheekbone. Someone trying very hard to make the rational choice instead of the real one. I should have pushed him away. Should have walked out of the room. Should have called for Christian. Instead, I stood frozen as his other hand came up to cut my face, tilting it up toward his. Tell me to stop, he murmured, his mouth inches from mine. Tell me you don't want this and I'll walk away. I'll stay away from you. Let you build your safe life with my brother. The out was there. Clear, simple. All I had to do was say the words. But my breath had gone shallow. My pulse raced, and every nerve ending in my body screamed for me to close that final distance. I can't, I whispered. Not I won't. Can't. Because something fundamental had shifted, and I no longer had the power to deny it. Eric's eyes darkened. Can't tell me to stop? Or can't pretend you don't want this? Both. He kissed me. Not like the mistaken kiss at our first meeting. This was deliberate, claiming, a slow, devastating exploration that made my knees weak. His hand slid into my hair, holding me steady as the world tilted sideways. I kissed him back, gripped his shoulders for balance, let myself drown in sensation I'd been trying to deny for 3 weeks. It was different from kissing Christian. Less gentle, more consuming. Like Eric was trying to memorize every detail, commit every reaction to memory. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he rested his forehead against mine. This is a terrible idea, I managed. Probably. His thumb traced my lower lip. But some terrible ideas are worth the consequences. Christian knew the moment he introduced us that this was inevitable. Eric pulled back enough to look at me properly. 7 minutes. That's all that separates us genetically. But we chose different paths. And you, Sophia, you don't belong on the safe one. You don't know what I belong to. Don't I? His hands were still in my hair, gentle but possessive. You built a career from nothing, fought for every client, refused to take shortcuts even when they were offered. You're not someone who plays it safe when it matters. So why start now? Before I could answer, footsteps echoed in the hallway. We sprang apart, creating appropriate distance as Christian appeared in the doorway. His eyes went immediately to my face, to my flushed cheeks, to my hair that Eric's hands had disturbed, to the space between us that felt charged despite the physical distance. Everything okay? Christian's voice was careful. Too careful. Fine, I said quickly, too quickly. Eric was just telling me about the family business. Was he? Not a question. Christian's gaze moved to his brother. How informative. I should go, I said, already moving toward the door. I have an early meeting tomorrow. Need to prepare. Christian followed me out. In the car, silence stretched between us, heavy and accusing. Did he touch you? Christian asked finally. What? My brother. Did he touch you? I could lie, should lie, but the guilt was already eating at me. Yes. Christian's hands went white on the steering wheel. And you let him. Christian. I knew this would happen. From the moment you kissed him by mistake, I knew. His voice cracked slightly. Eric takes what he wants, and you're what he wants now. It's not that simple. It never is with him. We pulled up outside my building. I need you to decide, Sophia, right now, me or him, safe or dangerous, because I can't do this halfway. Can't watch you be pulled into his world while pretending you're still in mine. The ultimatum was clear, but my answer wasn't. I need time, I said quietly, to figure out what I want. How much time? I don't know. Christian stared straight ahead, jaw tight. I'll give you a week. After that, if you haven't decided, the decision's made for you. I got out of the car on shaking legs, watched him drive away, went upstairs and locked myself in my apartment. My phone buzzed almost immediately. Eric's number, no longer unknown since I'd finally saved it. You kissed me back. That matters. Take the time Christian's giving you. But we both know what you'll choose. I stared at the messages, my thumb hovering over the delete button. But I didn't delete them. And that, more than anything, told me Eric was right. The week Christian gave me felt simultaneously too long, and not nearly long enough. I threw myself into the Meridian project with desperate focus, as if the right combination of fabric and lighting could somehow solve the impossible equation of my personal life. Karen staged an intervention on Wednesday, showing up at the penthouse site with coffee and her trademark blunt assessment. You look like hell, she announced, surveying my paint-stained jeans and the hair I'd twisted into a messy knot. When's the last time you slept? I sleep. I gestured at the fabric samples scattered across the floor. I just also work. There's a difference. Sophia. She set down the coffee with deliberate care. Running away from a decision by hiding in work isn't the same as making a choice. I'm not running away. I'm thinking. For 6 days? What's left to think about? Karen crossed her arms. You have sweet, stable Christian who treats you like a princess. And you have dangerous, intense Eric who looks at you like you're the only person in the room. One is safe. One will probably destroy your life. So the real question is which kind of destruction you prefer. I sank onto one of the sawhorses, suddenly exhausted. That's not helpful. I'm not here to be helpful. I'm here to be honest. She sat beside me. You've been in love with Eric since the moment you kissed him by mistake. I could see it in your face when you told me the story. The question isn't who you want. It's whether you're brave enough to admit it. Christian deserves better than being second choice. Agreed. Which is why stringing him along for a week while you pretend to deliberate is cruel. You know what you want, bestie. You're just scared of the consequences. She wasn't wrong. I'd known since that kiss in the Weber living room. Maybe even earlier. Maybe from the moment Eric had said, "Wrong brother, darling," with that dangerous, almost smile. But knowing and accepting were different things. My phone rang. Klaus Weber's name on the screen. My stomach dropped. Sophia. His accented voice came through when I answered. I apologize for the intrusion. Do you have a moment to speak? Of course, Mr. Weber. Please call me Klaus. We're past formalities now. A pause. I'm calling because my wife is concerned. She says there's tension between you and my sons. That Christian looked upset when you left on Sunday. I closed my eyes. Of course Ingrid had noticed. It's complicated. It always is with twins. His voice carried unexpected warmth. May I tell you a story? About when Eric and Christian were young? All right. They were 7, identical in every way. Same face, same voice, same mannerisms. Most people couldn't tell them apart. But there was a girl in their class, Sophia. Pretty little thing with braids. Both boys liked her. Klaus chuckled. The girl, she gave Christian a valentine, covered in hearts and stickers. He was so proud. But Eric, he knew. He could tell the girl had meant it for him, had confused them like everyone did. What did Eric do? Nothing. He let Christian keep the valentine, let him believe the girl liked him. Because even at 7, Eric understood something Christian didn't. That getting what you want sometimes means waiting, being patient. Klaus paused, but he also understood that the girl would eventually realize her mistake, would eventually come to him when she was ready. The parallel was obvious, too obvious. Klaus, are you telling me to choose Eric? I'm telling you that my sons are different men. Christian wants to protect you, make your life easier, give you stability. Eric wants to challenge you, make you stronger, give you truth. His voice softened. Only you know which one you need, but lying to yourself about the answer helps no one. After we hung up, I sat in the empty penthouse, surrounded by the evidence of my career. Everything I'd built through determination and stubborn refusal to accept limitations. Karen was right. Klaus was right. Even Christian in his ultimatum was right. I knew what I wanted. I was just terrified of the price. That evening, I texted Eric, "We need to talk." His response came immediately. "Name the time and place. Your penthouse. Tonight. 9 p.m. I'll send Otto to collect you. I can drive myself. Humor me." At 8:30, Otto Hoffman, Eric's head of security, a man who looked like he could bench press a car, appeared outside my building in a black Mercedes. The drive to Eric's building in the financial district was silent, Otto offering no small talk, just professional courtesy. Eric's penthouse occupied the top 3 floors of a glass tower that redefined the skyline. The elevator required a key card. The security was museum level, and when the doors opened directly into his living space, I understood the difference between Christian's comfortable wealth and Eric's absolute power. The space was stunning, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, modern furniture in black and gray and chrome, art that belonged in galleries, books everywhere, real books, not decorator volumes, a grand piano in one corner that looked actually used. Eric stood by the windows, dressed casually in dark jeans and a white button-down with the sleeves rolled up. He turned when I entered, his dark eyes finding mine with that familiar intensity. "Thank you for coming," he said simply. "Did I have a choice?" "Always." He moved to the bar, poured 2 glasses of red wine without asking if I wanted any. "But I'm glad you made this one." He handed me a glass, and I took it, needing something to do with my shaking hands. "Nice place," I managed. "Very Bond villain." His mouth curved. "I prefer to think of it as successful businessman with good taste. But I'll accept Bond villain if it works for you." Despite everything, I smiled. This was what Eric did. Made me forget to be careful. Made me react instead of calculate. "I need to understand something," I said, moving to the windows. The city spread below us, endless lights in the darkness. Christian said you take what you want, that you don't stop until you get it. Is that what this is? Some kind of game? No. He came to stand beside me, close enough that I could feel his warmth. If this were a game, I would have made my move weeks ago. Would have used every advantage I have to pull you away from Christian. This isn't a game, Sophia. It's the most honest thing I've felt in years. Honest how? I've spent my life in control, managing variables, eliminating threats, building an empire my father started and my brother abandoned. His hand found mine, fingers threading through. And then you walked into my family home, kissed me by mistake, and looked at me like I was a problem you couldn't solve. And for the first time in years, I felt something other than calculated strategy. What did you feel? Want. Real, uncomplicated want. Not for power or money or advantage. Just for you. He turned to face me fully. You make me remember there's a difference between taking what you want and choosing it. Between control and connection. My heart raced. Eric, I know you came here to tell me you're choosing Christian. That the safe choice is the right choice. That I'm too dangerous, too complicated, too much. His free hand came up to cup my face. But before you do, I need you to understand something. I'm not offering you safe. I'm offering you real. Messy, complicated, sometimes terrifying real. The question is whether you're brave enough to want that. And if I'm not, then I let you go. Step back. Let you build your life with my brother without interference. His thumb traced my cheekbone. But I don't think that's what you want. I think you're here because you've already decided. You just need permission to admit it. He was right. God help me. He was right. Christian will hate us, I whispered. Probably. For a while. But Christian is resilient. He'll move on. Find someone who actually wants safe instead of pretending to. Your family will adjust. They always do. His forehead touched mine. Sophia, I'm not going to convince you with arguments. You're too smart for that. So I'm just going to ask, what do you want? Really want? Beneath all the rational reasons and social expectations? I looked into his dark eyes and found my answer. You, I breathed. I want you. Even though it's selfish and will hurt Christian and complicate everything. I want you. Eric kissed me, slow and deep and thorough, like he had all the time in the world to map every response. His hands slid into my hair, tilting my head to the exact angle he wanted. I kissed him back, finally allowing myself to feel everything I'd been denying. The attraction, the connection, the terrifying, exhilarating sense of having made an irrevocable choice. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he pulled me against his chest, arms wrapping around me with surprising gentleness. I need to tell Christian, I said against his shoulder, face to face. He deserves that. Agreed. When? Tomorrow. I'll go to his office. I pulled back to look at him. Eric, I need you to understand. I'm not choosing you because you're dangerous or exciting. I'm choosing you because when I'm with you, I feel like myself. Sharp and challenging and alive. Not a softened version. The real thing. I know. His hands framed my face. Why do you think I waited? I don't want someone who needs me to complete them. I want someone who chooses me despite having every reason not to. We spent the rest of the night on his couch, talking. About his childhood growing up in the shadow of the family business. About my mother working 2 jobs to keep us afloat after my father died. About the different ways we'd both learned to survive in worlds that demanded more than they gave. At 2 a.m, Eric called Otto to drive me home. Walked me to the elevator. Kissed me goodbye like he was memorizing the feeling. Tomorrow will be hard, he said. Christian won't make it easy. I know. And there will be consequences. For both of us. My family will have opinions. Your friends will judge. The city will talk. I know that too. And you're still choosing this? I looked at him. Really looked. Saw past the dangerous exterior to the man beneath. Complex and calculating, and surprisingly vulnerable. I'm still choosing this, I said firmly. The next morning, I dressed with care. Simple black dress, hair pulled back, minimal makeup, armor for a battle I didn't want to fight but couldn't avoid. Christian's office was in a modern building near the harbor, his import business occupying half the 3rd floor. His assistant recognized me, waved me through with a smile that would probably disappear soon enough. Christian looked up when I knocked on his open door. He'd been expecting me. I could see it in his face. Sophia. He gestured to the chair across from his desk. You've decided. I have. I sat, hands folded in my lap to stop them from shaking. Christian, I'm so sorry. You've been nothing but wonderful to me. Kind and supportive and exactly what I thought I wanted. But, his voice was carefully neutral. But I can't be with you when I have feelings for your brother. It's not fair to either of us. Feelings for my brother. He leaned back, expression unreadable. That was quick. 6 weeks ago, you didn't know he existed. Now you're throwing away what we have for him. I'm not throwing away anything. What we have is real and good. But it's not. Enough. Not for either of us. You deserve someone who chooses you first, who doesn't have to talk themselves into being in love. And Eric? What does he deserve? The same thing. Someone who sees him clearly and chooses him anyway. Christian was silent for a long moment. I warned you, told you he was dangerous, that he'd pull you into his world. You did. And you were right. But maybe that's the world I belong in. I met his gaze steadily. I'm sorry, Christian. Truly. But I can't pretend anymore. He stood, moved to the window overlooking the harbor. My mother will be disappointed. She really liked you. I liked her too. And Sunday dinners will be awkward as hell. Despite everything, I almost smiled. Probably. He turned back to me, and I saw pain in his eyes that made my chest ache. I hope he makes you happy, Sophia. I really do. Because if he doesn't, if he breaks you the way he breaks everything else, I won't be there to pick up the pieces. I know. I stood, moved toward the door. For what it's worth, you're a good man, Christian. The right woman will be lucky to have you. Just not you. Not me. I left his office with tears burning behind my eyes, stepped into the elevator and let them fall. My phone buzzed. Eric. How did it go? It's done. I texted back. Where are you? Outside. I found him leaning against his car in the parking garage, dressed in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than my rent. When he saw my face, his expression softened. Come here, he said simply. I walked into his arms and let him hold me while I cried. For the relationship I'd ended. For Christian's pain. For the complications I'd just invited into my life. I've got you, Eric murmured against my hair. Whatever comes next, we face it together. And standing there in that parking garage, held by a man I barely knew but somehow understood completely, I believed him. The city learned about us within 48 hours. That's how quickly gossip traveled in the circles Eric inhabited. The overlap of legitimate business, high society, and the shadowed world where power was measured in favors owed and threats delivered. I discovered this when Astrid called 3 days after I'd ended things with Christian. Sunday dinner, she said without preamble. You're coming, both of you. Mother insists. And when Mother insists in that particular tone, arguing is futile. Astrid, I don't think Christian wants to see me right now. Christian is an adult. He'll manage his feelings appropriately at the family table. A pause. Eric has already agreed. So you're out of excuses. She hung up before I could protest further. That Sunday, Eric picked me up in his Mercedes, auto-driving while we sat in the back. I'd dressed with even more care than usual. A burgundy dress that was elegant, but not trying too hard. Armor disguised as fashion. Nervous? Eric asked, his hand finding mine. Terrified. Your brother hates me. Your family probably thinks I'm a homewrecker, and I have to sit through dinner pretending everything is fine. Christian doesn't hate you. He's hurt, which is different. Eric's thumb traced circles on my palm. And my family doesn't think you're a homewrecker. They think you're interesting, which in Weber terms is high praise. The mansion looked the same as always, but everything felt different now. I wasn't Christian's girlfriend being introduced to the family. I was Eric's. What? Girlfriend felt too simple for whatever this was. Ingrid greeted us at the door, her expression warm but assessing. She hugged me with the same genuine affection as before, then gripped my shoulders and looked me in the eye. You hurt one of my sons to be with the other, she said bluntly. I hope you understand what that means. I do, I managed. Good. Because Eric doesn't let people in. Not really. If you've gotten past those walls, you matter. But hurt him, and I'll make you regret it in ways you can't imagine. She smiled. Now, let's eat. Klaus made his mother's schnitzel. It's divine. The dining room held the same cast as before, minus Christian. He'd apparently claimed a work emergency, though we all knew it was avoidance. Dinner was surreal. Gustav treated me the same as always, enthusiastically describing his latest academic near-disaster. Astrid asked pointed questions about the Meridian project with genuine interest. Klaus discussed the import business with Eric while including me in the conversation with surprising respect. It was only when dessert arrived, Ingrid's legendary apple strudel, that the facade cracked. So, Klaus said, setting down his fork with deliberate care. You've chosen the difficult brother. Papa, Eric's voice carried a warning. It's a fact, not a judgment. Christian would have given you easy, comfortable, safe. Klaus's sharp eyes found mine. Eric will give you complicated, challenging, and very possibly dangerous. I hope you understand the difference. I do. I met his gaze steadily. I'm choosing it anyway. Why? The question hung in the air. Everyone had stopped eating, waiting for my answer. Because with Christian I was always performing, being the version of myself I thought he wanted. With Eric, I can just be, sharp edges and all. I looked at Eric, who was watching me with that familiar intensity. Even when it's harder, maybe especially then. Ingrid reached over and squeezed my hand. Good answer. After dinner, Eric gave me the full tour of the estate. Not the sanitized version for guests, but the real thing. The security room with monitors covering every inch of the property. The study where Klaus conducted business that never made it into official records. The basement wine cellar that doubled as a panic room. This is my world, Eric said as we stood in the climate-controlled space surrounded by bottles worth more than most people's cars. The beautiful surface and the complicated reality underneath. You should see all of it before you commit further. I'm already committed. Are you? He pulled me close, hands settling on my waist. Because there are things I haven't told you yet. Things about the family business. About what I do when I'm not having dinner with my parents. I know what you do, Eric. I'm not naive. Knowing an abstract and living with the reality are different things. His expression was serious. I manage the parts of the Weber empire that exist in gray areas. Legal but questionable. Questionable but profitable. I protect family interests through methods that wouldn't hold up to scrutiny. Are you trying to scare me off? I'm trying to be honest. You deserve that before this goes any further. I studied his face. The sharp angles. The dark eyes that missed nothing. The mouth that could curve with unexpected gentleness. Eric. I spent my childhood watching my mother work herself nearly to death because my father wasn't there to help. I know what it's like to survive in spaces that aren't quite legal, aren't quite safe. You're not as scary as you think you are. He laughed, surprised and genuine. Most people find me very scary. Most people haven't seen you play piano. You thought I didn't notice at your penthouse, but I did. The bench was positioned like someone uses it regularly, and there were sheet music marks on the stand. Observant. He pulled me closer. What else did you notice? That you read Rilke. That you take your coffee black with 1 sugar. That you touch your watch when you're thinking. That you're left-handed but trained yourself to write right-handed. That you... He kissed me, cutting off the list. When we broke apart, he was smiling. You're dangerous, he murmured. Says the actual dangerous one. Fair point. We returned to the main house to find Christian had arrived. He stood in the living room, drink in hand, face carefully neutral when he saw us enter together. The room went silent. Even Gustav put down his phone. Christian, I said quietly. I didn't know you were coming. It's my family home. I don't need permission to be here. His eyes moved from me to Eric, though apparently some things require less permission than others. Christian, Ingrid's tone carried warning. It's fine, Mother. I'm being civil. He took a long sip of his drink. I'm happy for you both. Truly. You clearly found what you were looking for. The words should have been generous, but the bitterness underneath cut like glass. Eric moved slightly, putting himself partially between Christian and me. The protective instinct was subtle but unmistakable. Don't, Christian said, his voice dropping. Don't stand there like you're protecting her from me. I would never hurt her. That's the difference between us, brother. I actually cared about her well-being more than my own satisfaction. And I don't? Eric's tone went cold. Do you? Or did you just want what I had? Again. The again suggested a history I didn't know, a pattern I was apparently repeating. This isn't the time, Klaus said firmly. We're family. We handle disagreements in private. Right, private. Like how Eric privately pursued my girlfriend for weeks before she ended things with me. Christian's control was cracking. How very discreet. I ended things with you. I interjected. Not Eric. Me. I made that choice. Because he manipulated you into it. I made my own decision, Christian. Give me that much credit. Credit. He laughed, bitter and sharp. You want credit for breaking my heart? For choosing the brother who'll probably destroy you? That's enough. Eric's voice cut through the room with authority that made everyone go still. Sophia made her choice. You can be hurt. You can be angry. But you don't get to diminish her agency or intelligence. Christian stared at his brother, jaw tight. You've taken everything else. At least let me have my anger. What have I taken? You really don't remember, do you? Christian set down his glass with shaking hands. Our entire childhood, every opportunity, every achievement. You absorbed all the attention, all the approval, all the space in this family. And when I finally built something of my own, a legitimate business, a good woman, you couldn't stand it. Had to take that too. The pain in his voice was raw, real. And I suddenly understood that this wasn't about me at all. I was just the latest in a lifetime of rivalry I'd walked into without knowing. I never asked you to live in my shadow, Eric said quietly. You didn't have to ask. It was inevitable. 7 minutes older, infinitely more ruthless, exactly what father wanted in an heir. Christian grabbed his coat. I'm leaving. Enjoy your conquest, brother. I hope she's worth the damage. He left. The door closed. Silence filled the space he'd vacated. Well, Gustav said into the quiet. That was awkward. Gustav. Ingrid's tone was sharp. What? I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. Astrid closed her laptop. For what it's worth, Christian will get over it. Eventually. He always does. Has this happened before? I asked. Eric taking someone Christian was interested in? Not exactly this, Astrid hedged. But there's always been competition. Comparison. Christian spent his life trying to prove he's more than just Eric's twin, that he exists separately. And I just made it worse. No, Eric said firmly. Christian's resentment existed long before you. You're just the current manifestation. It's not your burden to carry. But it felt like my burden. I'd chosen Eric knowing it would hurt Christian, but I hadn't understood the depth of the wound I was opening. Later, at Eric's penthouse, I stood at the windows looking out over the city while he poured wine. You're thinking too loudly, he observed, handing me a glass. I'm thinking about your brother, about whether I just destroyed a relationship that mattered. Christian and I haven't had a functional relationship in years. You didn't destroy anything. You just illuminated what was already broken. That doesn't make me feel better. Eric set down his glass and turned me to face him. Sophia, I'm not going to pretend this is simple. Choosing me comes with complications, family drama, professional entanglements, a world that operates in shades of gray rather than black and white. But I'm also not going to apologize for wanting you, for pursuing you, for being glad you chose me. I'm not asking you to apologize. Then what are you asking? I thought about it, about what I really needed in this moment. Tell me this is worth it, that we're worth the damage we're causing. We are, absolutely, unquestionably. His hands framed my face, and I'll spend however long it takes proving that to you. He kissed me, and I let myself believe him. Let myself fall into the certainty he offered so freely. But later, lying in his bed while he slept beside me, I stared at the ceiling and thought about Christian's words. About being a conquest. About Eric taking what belonged to his brother. I wanted to believe this was different. That I was different. I just wasn't sure the rest of the world would see it that way. 3 months into my relationship with Eric, I discovered that loving him and living with the consequences were two very different things. The design world buzzed with gossip about my personal life. Clients who'd been interested suddenly went radio silent. A feature article about the Meridian project unfortunately got killed. Karen reported that people were calling me opportunistic, a social climber who'd traded up from one brother to another. They're idiots, Karen declared over coffee one morning at my apartment. You didn't choose Eric for his money or connections. You chose him because you couldn't help yourself. That doesn't sound better. It's honest, which counts for something. What counted more was that Eric never wavered. When a business associate made a snide comment about his brother's cast-off, Eric removed the man from a lucrative deal with surgical precision. When society gossip columns ran thinly veiled items about the Weber family drama, Eric's lawyers sent cease and desist letters that had editors scrambling. He protected me fiercely, sometimes too fiercely. You can't threaten everyone who says something mean about me, I told him after the third incident. Watch me. He looked up from his laptop, dark eyes serious. You're mine. That means anyone who comes for you comes for me. Those are the rules. Your rules. The only ones that matter. It should have been overbearing, controlling. But somehow, with Eric, it felt different. Like he was defending my right to exist in his world, rather than controlling how I existed. Still, the pressure mounted. Christian remained icy at family dinners, his hurt transforming into cold politeness that was somehow worse than anger. Ingrid tried to smooth things over. Klaus pretended not to notice. Astrid watched everything with lawyer eyes. Gustav provided comic relief that nobody laughed at. It was exhausting. I spent my days managing a career that was becoming increasingly complicated by my association with Eric. Spent my evenings navigating family dynamics that felt like walking through a minefield. Spent my nights in Eric's arms, which was the only uncomplicated part of this entire situation. We should go away. Eric suggested one evening as we lay tangled together in his bed. Take a week. Somewhere without family or gossip or people who care who you're dating. Where? I have a house in Tuscany, vineyard, privacy. Nothing to do but drink wine and pretend the rest of the world doesn't exist. That sounds perfect. I traced the line of his jaw. When? Next month. I'll clear my schedule. But the next month brought something unexpected. I was at the Meridian penthouse, finally doing the final walkthrough before the client moved in, when nausea hit me so hard I barely made it to the bathroom. Karen found me 20 minutes later, pale and shaking. Food poisoning? She asked, handing me water. Maybe. But even as I said it, I knew it wasn't. I'd been tired, emotional. My last period had been. When? I tried to remember and couldn't. Sophia. Karen's voice changed. When was your last period? I don't. I've been stressed. Sometimes stress delays. How long? I counted backward. 6 weeks, maybe 7. Oh God. I sank onto the pristine floor I'd spent weeks selecting. Oh God, no. Karen pulled me to my feet. Pharmacy. Now. We're getting a test. 30 minutes later, I stared at 2 pink lines that were rewriting my entire future. Positive, Karen said unnecessarily. Very positive. Is it Eric's? Of course it's Eric's. Who else? Just checking. Okay, options. You have options here. I did. Logically, rationally, I had several clear paths forward. But looking at that test, I already knew which path I was taking. I'm keeping it, I heard myself say. Okay. Then we tell Eric. Not yet. I pressed my hands to my still flat stomach. I need to process first, figure out what I want to say. Sophia, please, Karen. Just give me a few days. She agreed reluctantly. I went home, threw myself into work. Tried to imagine telling Eric I was carrying his child when we'd been together less than 6 months. The opportunity came Thursday night at his penthouse. He'd cooked, something he did when he wanted to relax, turning his state-of-the-art kitchen into a creative space. I watched him move with economical grace, precisely measuring ingredients, controlling every variable. Control was Eric's religion. How was he going to handle something as uncontrollable as a baby? You're quiet tonight, he observed, plating pasta with care. Long day. He studied me with that unnerving focus. You're lying. I'm not. Your tells are subtle but consistent. You touch your collarbone when you're anxious. You've done it 17 times since arriving. What's wrong? I set down my fork. I'm pregnant. The words hung in the air between us. Eric went completely still, his expression unreadable. Pregnant, he repeated carefully. 6 weeks, maybe 7. I took a test. Actually, 3 tests. All positive. I was babbling now, nervous energy spilling out. I know this is terrible timing. We've only been together a few months. Your family is already dealing with Christian hating us, and my career is finally taking off. But I'm keeping it. If you don't want... He kissed me. Sudden and fierce and thorough, cutting off my spiral. When he pulled back, his hands framed my face, thumbs stroking my cheekbones. You're carrying my child, he said, voice rough with emotion I'd never heard from him before. Yes. Our child. Yes. And you think I wouldn't want that? I don't know. We've never talked about kids, about future, about anything beyond right now. Then let's talk now. He pulled me to the couch, settling me against him. I want this baby. Want you. Want the complicated, messy, beautiful future we're apparently building together. Is that clear enough? Relief made me lightheaded. Very clear. Good. Now, Practical matters. You're moving in here. Eric, non-negotiable. You're pregnant with my child. I want you where I can ensure you're safe and cared for. I have an apartment, a lease. Karen can visit whenever she wants. The lease I'll pay off. Your apartment will remain available if you need space. But primarily you're here, with me. It should have felt controlling. Instead, it felt like being caught. Like Eric was restructuring his entire world to make room for me and our child without question or hesitation. What about your family? I asked. Christian is barely speaking to us, adding a baby to this situation. Christian will adjust. He doesn't get a vote in our choices. Eric's hand settled on my stomach with surprising gentleness. Though telling my parents will be interesting. Interesting how? Mother will be thrilled. She's been dropping hints about grandchildren for years. Father will conduct a mental cost-benefit analysis and conclude this strengthens family ties. Astrid will probably have opinions about prenatal lawyers or something equally Astrid, and Gustav will make inappropriate jokes. Despite everything, I laughed. Sounds about right. We told his family the following Sunday. Ingrid cried happy tears and immediately started planning. Klaus congratulated us with genuine warmth. Astrid asked pointed questions about our plans. Gustav made exactly the inappropriate jokes Eric predicted. And Christian left without a word, his expression carefully blank. He'll come around, Ingrid assured me. He's hurt, but he's not cruel. A baby changes things. I hoped she was right, but I wasn't sure. The months that followed were surreal. My body changed, my career shifted. My relationship with Eric deepened in ways I hadn't anticipated. He was attentive without smothering, supportive without controlling, excited in a way that made my heart ache. I never thought I'd have this, he admitted one night as we lay in bed, his hand on my growing belly. Family beyond the business. Something that exists just for us. You have your parents, your siblings. That's different. That's obligation and history and complicated loyalty. This... He pressed his palm flat against where our daughter was currently practicing gymnastics. This is choice. Pure choice. I covered his hand with mine. I love you. I don't think I've said that enough. You've said it exactly enough, but feel free to say it more. I love you, Eric Weber. Complicated, intense, impossible you. I love you too, and her. He leaned down to press a kiss to my stomach. Both of you. More than I have words for. The baby came 3 weeks early on a Thursday afternoon. Labor was fast and intense and terrifying. Eric never left my side, his usual control fracturing as my pain escalated. Make it stop, he demanded of the doctor. Give her more medication. Do something. I'm fine, I gasped between contractions. This is normal. It's not fine. She's in pain. That's not... Eric. I gripped his hand. I need you calm. Can you do that for me? He took a breath, nodded, became the steady presence I needed as our daughter entered the world screaming at maximum volume. She's perfect, the doctor announced, placing our baby on my chest. Absolutely perfect. I looked down at the tiny human we'd created. Dark hair like Eric's, my nose, his fingers. Perfect and terrifying in ours. Helena, I whispered. The name we'd chosen together. Strong. German. A nod to Eric's heritage. Eric touched her tiny hand with devastating gentleness. Helena Weber. Actually, I said, looking up at him, I was thinking Helena Rossi. My mother's maiden name. So she has both of us. His eyes went dark with emotion. Helena Sophia Rossi Weber. That's a mouthful. It's perfect. Later, after the doctors left and it was just the three of us, Eric held our daughter with surprising confidence. I have something to tell you, he said quietly. What? Christian came to see me last week. while you were at your final doctor's appointment. My stomach clenched. And he said he was sorry for the bitterness, for making things harder. Eric's gaze stayed on Helena. He said any child of yours deserved an uncle who wasn't consumed by resentment. What did you say? That I was sorry, too, for not seeing how much I'd hurt him, for taking so much without acknowledging the cost. He finally looked at me. We're not fixed. Probably won't be for a while, but it's a start. The next day brought visitors. Ingrid with enough baby clothes to outfit triplets. Klaus with a trust fund account he'd already opened. Astrid with a binder of legal documents. Gustav with a teddy bear larger than the baby. And Christian, hesitant, uncertain, but there. She's beautiful, he said, looking at Helena sleeping in my arms. She has your eyes, Eric's stubborn chin. Want to hold her? He took her carefully, and something in his expression softened. Hi, Helena. I'm your Uncle Christian, the good one. Don't believe anything Uncle Eric tells you. Eric rolled his eyes but smiled. A real smile. We'd come such a long way from that first mistaken kiss. From the agonizing choice. From the family drama and gossip and complications. Looking at Eric holding our daughter. At Christian making silly faces at his niece. At the family gathering around us with genuine love despite everything. I knew I'd chosen right. Wrong brother initially. Right choice eventually. And a future more complicated and beautiful than I could have imagined. Sometimes the heart knows before the mind catches up. And the bravest thing we can do is choose what's real over what's safe. Sophia's journey from mistaken kiss to deliberate choice reminds us that love isn't always convenient, but it's always worth fighting for. If this story touched your heart, please click like below. It helps us share more stories like Sophia's with women who understand that choosing yourself is never selfish. What would you do if you accidentally kissed the wrong twin? Would you play it safe with the gentle brother? Or risk everything for the dangerous one who sees the real you? Share your thoughts in the comments. I love hearing your perspectives.